Hello, welcome everybody. Welcome back to our podcast, Occupational Therapy Lived and Practiced. Thank you for all the love and support that you've been showing us. We're really grateful, and we hope that you continue with us on this journey of ours. It's just the two friends that you know. My name is Kenny, and I'm here with.
I'm Femi, as usual, and once again, thank you for all the love you've shown so far. This is where our journey left Nigeria, and we started a new phase of our OT experience in Asia. I'm
Mhm.
sure you,
Yeah.
you want to know the country, Kenny.
Yes. We actually went to India. So if you've been following the episode, you know we started from how we schooled and got a diploma in occupational therapy back in Yaba, Lagos, and then we moved across all the way to Port Harcourt to practice, and then we moved to Benin in Edo
Yeah.
State to further our practice. But this time around, we're here to talk about when the journey took us to the continent of Asia, precisely in India, and where
Right.
we wanted to upgrade. Because as we all know and we're all aware, for our Nigerians will know this, that obviously if you have a diploma in occupational therapy, you're an occupational therapy assistant. So you technician.
Yeah.
That's what you will be. For you to be an occupational therapy registered, you have to have a degree. And we had very limited opportunities to do that when we're back home.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
we needed to go to India.
Yeah, and of course, this decision was not an easy one to make at that time.
No, it wasn't. No,
You
absolutely
know,
not.
all the all what's it called, the financial implication of living in Nigeria, and when you're not from a family of silver spoon, you have to you do a lot of things. I mean, plan, saving. Someone like me, I am always a pro Nigerian. I mean, like I don't want to step out of my comfort zone most of the time. It's just something that's usually very difficult for me. But at that
Mhm.
time, it became, for someone who probably some of you who had seen my picture on Facebook recently, where I grafted myself into a picture of some of the guys who were already in India back then. So that was when it became a burden in my heart that time that no, there's something we must do. I remember Kenny and I, we were living together at that time when we were planning to save and save up money, prepare for the journey. Eventually,
I
we
mean,
we did.
yeah, because at the time we had what IFE offering degree program, University of IFE was the only one offering a degree program back in Nigeria at the time.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of effort to get in, as well as the fact that you will have to do like what 4 or 5 years extra again.
Apart from that, Kenny, they were not even they were not taking the FSOT. I mean, the School of OT in Lagos. They were not taking the certificate at that time. It was still this tussle of whether or not they will let you start in second year or you have to write another jam and start all over again. So we were not sure. It wasn't something that was readily available at that time. Some of us would have even, like someone like me, I would have loved to just go there and maybe start all over again because I didn't know how I was going to do the India thing, the finances aspect and everything. But eventually, patience that we had that time paid off.
Yeah, exactly. And also, we had people already gone to places like Manipal in India, and when either they've already returned or on their way back coming from the studies. And I remember that SRM came into the picture like a year before we went. We had them, Mr. Vincent and Shola and Karim also
Yeah,
heading there at the
Peter.
time, Peter as
Yeah,
well, and they were able to secure that and get us in. I wanted to go with them at that point in time. I probably had saved up what maybe like 100 or 200, but it wasn't feasible. Wanted Pops was ready to borrow money to go take a loan just for me to go, but eventually when we all sat down and think about it, we want to go the proper way, because also if I had gone that particular year, I wouldn't have been entitled to something like a study leave
yeah,
or all of that from the teaching hospital that we were working at the time. So I just felt okay, let's wait for the next, and then I was ready to grind and get everything in terms of
yeah,
money and all of that to just be able to afford heading to this place. So it
yeah,
was. at that point when we were thinking about it, it was experience from Port Harcourt and Benin. But we felt like if we continue like this, we'll just be stuck. We'll be crawling, so to speak,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, judging from Nigeria practice environment,
Mm-hmm.
considering diploma in comparison with people who are already degree, I mean, who were degree older at that time, the gap was massive in terms of recognition, especially on the federal level.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at Conhes 6 in the teaching hospital as against Conhes 9, and the cap, the civil service cap for diploma holder is usually level 14, while you could get to 17 as a degree holder. So those factors were what we were looking into. I mean, for some of us who were thinking about growing in the profession. So we felt at that time, if we settled for diploma, yes, we were making quite, we'll say, good money at that time to fend for ourselves, being single guys, But when you look at the future, of course, you are going to have a wife, you will have your children, and you want to raise a family. You want something, you want to get to the peak of your career if you are planning big, for yourself. And that actually led to that decision. You remember
Mm-hmm.
how we saved so much. I mean, we had to live
Bro.
like wretched people daily just to make
Mm-hmm.
sure we are not spending beyond our target. And it was really
And
a lot
then,
of commitment.
yeah, I mean, one of the also kind of like the factor was, if you remember that just before Mr. More, Shola and all left, Mr. Elende came back and from Manipal. And also the way he was in terms of academics or the knowledge that was brought in to help shape the department at the time as well, in terms of assessment, how in depth all of these things kind of like became a little bit of standard came into the practice or the standard beyond what we were already doing, kind of like drove you in me, especially to be like wanted to do more or know more. And I think that pushed me to want to eventually go to this India
That's
to
right.
find out for myself to see why is it different, why are people coming back a bit more different, and the
Exposed. Yes.
experience is just totally different from what we're used to, and it just speaks volume to everything that we did. um
Yeah.
but at the same time, I was it with the family. How did they react to your decision to want to go to India, to be honest?
Well, in my case, I didn't involve my family at first because
Mm,
looking at the background in terms of finances, I wasn't expecting anything from the family at first. So I had to make sure that I've paid the first school fees, at least let's pay that. And then maybe when I'm looking for something else, like my upkeep for transport and everything, that was when I now involved my family. My mom was like, you paid that much money. How were you able to save that much? I said, well, when you are determined, there is no
yeah.
length you won't be able to go for your determination to be actualized. So yes, I was determined, and yes, we were earning how much? 50,000 a month, fifty
At the
thousand
time,
naira
yeah.
at the
But there
time.
were
But we all the PP, we were doing the private practices everywhere, not resting. I mean, we worked virtually 7 days a week, no break.
oh, don't
We
remind me,
work
sir.
7 to 7. In fact, sometimes 9 p.m. You're still on the road. I mean, it was really serious. So my mom was so happy. Wow, you're traveling. And thanks to my aunt, she was really very supportive. The moment I mentioned that I was going up, because I will be the first to travel in my immediate family, the first to travel out of the country at that time. So it was something of a huge joy hearing such news and, yeah. So they took it with great happiness and they were very supportive the little they could. And
I mean, obviously, my parents have always been very, very supportive. They've always been involved in everything. But it was a surprise to them, the fact that by the time I went in trying to get the visa, I have to stay home because you have to go to Lagos to get all of that. And before you know it, I'm saying I'm traveling, I bought my ticket, I've paid for the school fees, I've done this and that. My dad was so surprised and was like, am I not involved? Because he's always wanting to. he has always taken care of us. Ever like he has always been the one taking care, especially when it comes to academics. So when he heard that, he eventually had to, what will I say, go withdraw some, I don't know, some maybe 100,000 or something. I gave him cash
Hmm.
to take along. Obviously, it wasn't, you couldn't use that when we got there. I had to send it back home to get a change or something like that. But it was just the fact that it was so ecstatic and he was so happy that he just wanted to be part of it. He didn't want
Yeah.
to be left out. And he knew that, I'm sure in his mind, he felt this is a success story unfolding. He
Hmm.
probably believed so much in me at the time. And also, obviously, in my immediate family, I think I was the one just to travel.
Mm.
Dad has gone to Jerusalem and all of that, but it's just for studies and all. And I was really, really excited and motivated to want to be in, because I've done majority of the things from by myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it
So
wasn't easy though. It wasn't
yeah,
easy
yeah, it
going back to
wasn't.
being a
Yeah. Yeah. I came a little late. I
you
mean,
did.
the lecture started, I think, in August.
August,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I came in on September
Oh,
29th.
mm,
Yes. Yeah, I remember September 29th. I joined the class the following day. It was my experience coming. It was not something I will, always like to talk about. It was a Saturday. I think the first attempt I made was on a Thursday, and then I wasn't allowed to board on that day. They were saying I needed a return ticket. So I didn't really pay attention to that. I said, no, why would I need a return ticket? I'm not returning anytime soon. I went ahead and changed the date with another extra money. I got there again the following Saturday, and they said, no, you again, you can't travel. We told you the other day you need to buy a return ticket. I said, what? And the worst part was that the night before, I was at Jibowu in Lagos, and Timmy, Timmy so he's a very nice guy. He hosted me to a jollof rice that night, and it was a lovely experience. And the following Saturday, when I was traveling, and well, I had to eventually buy my return ticket. Paying double. Yes, and it wasn't a very lovely experience. Well, I traveled, but I had to later not use that ticket. I didn't use it, and
of
it went
course. I
went to
mean,
waste. So yeah,
it only expires in a year, doesn't it? The
yeah,
return ticket. I mean, it was different. You do all of the stress, you
yeah.
pack all of the food, and then you get to Nigeria airport and they tend to show themselves, so to speak. Took out everything. Like it was a lot of things they had to drop. At
Hmm.
the time you had that custom officers or
Yeah,
immigration, I
yeah,
don't know,
yeah.
whatever it is. I can't even tell their different uniforms. They are were the entrance at the time. So they take everything out. That was already stressful. I was left by myself because my sister dropped me and then she had to go to work. And I've never had, apart from our local flight that we do from Port Harcourt to Lagos at the time, I've never had
Hmm.
that experience of flying out of the country and dealing with those things myself. But it was a nice travel, get to sit at the window seat, came
Hmm.
out. When I got to India, I think my expectations were different a
That's
little
right.
bit because arriving there, the airport was crazy. It was nice. It was
Hmm.
the stuff of movie that you see in the movies and all of that. But as soon as you step out of the airport, I was like, oh God, what has what did he, because the culture shock was so real and so immediate.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, okay, where where am I? Am I sure I've just been to India? Because obviously our mentality back home is everywhere else is better than our country.
That's
You
right.
think that everywhere else is is like New York or as soon as you're overseas, everywhere must be
Yeah.
spanking clean and but it was a different experience. And
Mm.
getting there was just a bit like, okay, the realization just eats so hard.
Yeah.
But it's just changing from being a worker, a therapist, someone that has been grinding it for what, 4 years
Mm-hmm.
at the time
Yeah.
already, and now going back to school. I wasn't that old because I started my OT journey early, but at the same
Yeah.
time, you being in class with people that are like what, 19, 20, less than
Yeah.
that, some
Mm-hmm.
you feel out of place a little bit and be like, oh.
Mm-hmm. 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 I was old enough to even be a father to some of the some of the classmates. And then they were like, "What? How are you this old? I mean, what are you doing here?" I'll be like, "You can't imagine what I've gone through. Well, how long I've been practicing before I decided to come around, and I mean, yeah, it was sort of a kind of encouragement for me, to be there. There was no discrimination, to be honest. I mean,
No,
they accepted us as if we've been, together for a very long time, and
yeah,
quickly we integrated ourselves into. I mean, Nigerians now, how we do our things. I mean, I'm not trying
but
to be
like I know they
sentimental,
carry
but
last time.
yeah, that's the thing. So we adjusted sharply. That's how we normally would say it. We integrated it, really, really well. And I would say that's one of the attributes of an occupational therapist, our ability to adapt is because that's what we do. That's how we encourage our patients to adapt when maybe
Mhm.
if you are living with a disability, we create that environment for you to adapt, easy to blend, function, and that's what we did when we got there. We dusted all our books, and then we started all over, and it was a lovely experience.
We had lovely classmates. That was it.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
really took to us. Obviously, the people that has gone ahead of us, the likes of Deji, Shola, Peter, had also created some sort of a soft landing in terms of the acceptance that come
Mm,
with it and the
yeah,
expectation as well, a little bit, because they were acing things and you can't bring the reputation or that they have for Nigerians down.
yeah.
So we had big shoes to fill as well. But you, me, Yusuf, and Samson were in that class, and then it
Hmm.
was just a different vibe. We seem to always find ourselves with a group of people in classes where they are vibrant. As much as they want to be into books, they also want to be into other things and all of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I can't. This podcast will not be complete. I mean, my part will not be complete if I don't talk about the huge favor that I received upon arrival from Bukola. I mean, she created that experience of, homeliness for me when I got there. It was really a massive support. I would say shout out to Bukola. Okay, now Mrs. Adeyemo. I believe if you watch this, you will also see this. Thanks a lot for all you did at that time. Kenny, so what do you think about the food differences?
my good God, I'm the kind of person that has a sensitive stomach. I only stick to what I eat. Getting there, I mean, it was a very difficult time for me to adapt because you are used to a Nigerian food. It wasn't readily available there. You can't. India is far from Nigeria. It's quite far. You can't readily have Nigerian stores like we do in the UK
Mm-hmm.
where they sell Nigerian things. And if they do, we were not working. We were students. We can't be
Students.
buying. We can't be buying things expensive so that we can eat. But you just have to make do and make the most of it. I only took to some very few food like biryani,
Yeah.
chicken fried rice, chapati,
Uh,
and basically that's it. Apart from the
how
lovely,
about
lovely
suji?
pastries. Yeah, I mean, we use suji and we try to make it in our own way, isn't it? I don't think that's what they use suji for.
We now turn it to amala.
I don't think that's what they use suji for, but we have to make do with what we have. But at the same time, I ate so much chicken. I've never ate that much chicken in my
Yeah,
life.
that Anna at Poteri.
Yeah,
Where
exactly.
you, yeah,
That now. And then lava cake opened up, and that that made it easier. Boys had to go there to.
yeah. And another thing is the language barrier. I found it very
Yeah.
difficult at first. At
It was the
first,
accent, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, more of the accent. Yes. And
Yeah.
of course, people will say, "Oh, Nigerians, we have accent," and yeah, yeah, of course, we do.
Everybody does.
But when you are changing an environment, you struggle that much, especially when it's a different continent as it is.
I mean,
Yeah.
they speak Tamil over there, and you should, to get by. To be honest with you, apart from you having conversations around in and around school, to do day to day things, to go to the shops, buy things, take a bus, take a train, do all of that stuff, you need to know basic.
Yeah.
That you
Yeah.
you need to know basic Tamil to get by.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, what did you think about stepping into that type of university as well? The structures that were there. How?
Yeah. First, I wasn't because SRM is a private university, and I wasn't expecting something that massive. You know, I was thinking about simple building, faculty building, but when I approached, especially the university building, because that was the first landing arena where we did all the registration and got all the
Mhm.
paperwork sorted out. It was an is it 14-story building? Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
was. They call it pink building. It was massive. I mean,
yeah.
I was like, by the time I got to the medical college, then no, this is not true. No, this is not real. Now you had to go through the lift to our class was on the fourth floor. Was it fourth or?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
fourth floor. It was
yeah,
fourth floor. As
massive
much
place.
as much as it was tall, it was wide as well. And
Hmm.
then if you look at the hospital as well, it's just massive. To now talk of the tech park that we had as well.
Yeah,
And then the
yeah,
hostels they're just long with different floors. They know how to do things like skyscrapers and high-rise buildings.
that's
But
right.
with all of that, there's so much greenery as
Yeah,
well as so many opportunities to do different things. The basketball court, the football court, cricket, everything
yeah,
was
yeah.
still embedded in it.
And the Ganesa Hall, you remember? TP
Where
Ganesa Hall, where we do our social
Panisha,
activities. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, they infused everything. It was nice to see for someone that came from our two classroom school,
yeah, to
from
that
a school like
environment.
that, to that kind of environment, and to just now see how they take the education, how structured it was,
Yeah, yeah.
especially all of these specialty courses like the medicine, dentistry, side of courses like therapy, and then you not think about the engineering aspect. How they keep
Mm,
it so structured was
yeah,
really, really
intriguing.
nice to
Yes,
see, to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah. And the first week in that university environment for me, well, it was a mix of excitement and
Hmm.
confusion because I was excited because, oh yes, now I'm abroad, I'm in a new environment and and new learning, and confused in that most of the time I can't find my way,
I
and
got lost so many times.
yeah, it's really really an experience, so to speak. We didn't live in the hostel, so
No, we did not.
you remember Deji lived at some point in the hostel. So with the experience, apart from the expenses, you have to pay a huge amount of money. I think up to about $2,000, if not more, for a whole
Yeah,
year. So
1,000 something. Yeah.
yeah, so I could not afford such expenses.
No,
So
I
yeah,
mean,
hostel life.
the Deji came, I think he came out of hostel for me so that we could live together with
Yeah,
Peter at the time.
yeah,
But we're
yeah,
still having access a little bit to the hostel where we play football and all of that. But I remember when, obviously, I hadn't played football since we left School of OT, which was like, what, at that time, four plus years. And then going back to SRM and we started playing football.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and it just eats me. I got sick, and landed in the hospital for like a
yeah,
week and a half. Um, no, yeah, that was a terrible experience because landed in the hospital, had like 18 drips because they said I was dehydrated. India was
dehydrated.
hot.
Yes.
India was hot. But around the same time, we had a break-in in the house that we rented,
Yeah,
and everything was taken.
was talking.
Everything, my iPad, laptop, things like that was like you needed for school,
Yeah.
or while on the hospital bed. And I was in the hospital bed, everybody was going to class. I've
Hmm.
asked them multiple times, can you bring in my iPad? Like, I need to be watching something. I need to be. keeping myself busy because this place is just boring. And I was like, they now brought me Karim's tablet, some Android tablet at the time. I was like, why are you bringing me an Android tablet? I have an iPad. Like, give me my iPad. I know what to do with my iPad. Anyway, it didn't occur to me, but they were trying to prevent, because I was still ill, they were trying to prevent me from knowing that there has been a break-in and everything has been taken.
Taking.
And I'm like, okay. And it was like a day before I got discharged when they now told me that hits me in a different way where you just like, where do you start from? Again, you spend a lot of money coming to this country. You
Yeah.
think like, okay, everything that you have, you don't have to spend money to buy all of this stuff again. And then we had to go back to ground zero to be able to,
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
was, this kind of experience was a bit,
Yeah.
but
Every, you remember that break-ins, it was all over the place. They also
it
broke
was all over the,
to our side as well. And fortunately for me that day, my laptop was not in the room. So the only laptop they saw was an old and bad one that wasn't really functioning. So they took that one away, and that was how my laptop escaped the theft, only to be stolen when I got back to Nigeria. But that's a story for another day, anyways. Yeah. So looking at we were four of us. Like it was you and I, Yusuf and Samson,
Samson.
right, in our
Yes,
class.
yes.
And that class was, I think we were about 20 something in total.
Yeah.
All the students in the class, we were about that much. And you know, we Indian, and there's a spirit right there in India about competition. Who is going to be topper of the class, and so that competition was very healthy, I would say, because it stimulated that spirit to want to excel in you. You
Mm-hmm.
want to
Yeah.
do
True.
more.
True.
Studying was very difficult for me. I won't tell lies because
Ooh.
I stopped studying for how many years before I went to it. So very difficult, and I couldn't study for 30 minutes straight, and I would be off with the book on the other side and sleeping. So I had to create a kind of study style which I felt was it worked well for me. I couldn't study straight 2 hours like some people would do, studying 5 hours. So I broke my studying time to smaller times, like pieces of paper on the floor, and I would just distract myself. Then we had games, and then you play game for 30 minutes, study for. So that was how I studied, and it really helped.
I mean, we'll probably talk more about it in the next episode where
Yeah,
about what the courses entail and how we had to adjust to studying again, reading for exam, how exams in India is so different from the kind of exams that I've written before, and the
don't
expectations
go there.
are even so high. You can't even imagine. It's just the fact that you're doing exams for 3 hours. You are expected to do all of this. You're still expected to do Viva and defend whatever it is that you've written in exams orally,
Yeah,
even if you're not even if you were able to cheat, let's say you were able to cheat in the exam, which was impossible at the
impossible.
time,
Absolutely.
even by some special grace, you were able to cheat, you still have to defend some of these that you know it in an oral exam that you will have to do.
Exams, yes, yes.
But I mean, it was a great experience looking back at it now. It was
Yeah,
uncomfortable, but
yeah,
necessary. It was
that's
something
right.
that we needed and it stretched us, didn't it?
Yeah, really, really, really. And it is on these notes, we will say thank you for watching this episode. And as Kenny said, we'll see you in the next episode where we'll be tearing down the next aspect. And thank you very much. And we close. And
Yeah,
bye for
thank
now.
you. Thank you very much.